Just want to let you know, if for whatever reason I seem a little diva today, you know, that little extra bit of sass in my step, it's probably to do with the fact that I'm so very hungover. Algorithm. A word originating as the combination of two old Germanic terms. Algae, meaning that shit in the water, and rhythm, meaning that shit black people got. But I'd say you'd probably have never been able to guess that nowadays, given how it seems to loosely translate into as much damn dough as possible. You know, I have a lot of video ideas that I want to get around to at the moment. An awful lot stirring on the stove, if you will. But every now and then, something in particular will end up bothering me just that little bit too much, so that I have to go get that shit off my chest as soon as possible. Because it's all I can do. Keeping all that pent up aggression in me is just not good for my bowel movements one bit. And so this is one of those videos. No, not the result of me going out into the world and actively looking for something to make fun of, but one of those things that I just can't help but feel indebted to society and my asshole to do so about. See, personally, I do genuinely see internet algorithms as an interesting phenomenon. Well, that's not true, but I sure do spend a lot of time on them. And so there's a lot I have to be said about them anyways. No two platforms' algorithms are exactly the same, because the way that it operates depends on how, as well as why, when, where, what, who, and how people use the platform in question itself. Whether that be for music or media, lasting 10 hours or 10 seconds, a site for Coke or Cocomelon, it's all gotta be algorithmatized. All that, as well as all the while what the geeks who own the thing look to reward and penalize on it. In this way, each and every single free internet website exists only as a fragile ecosystem created between the forever lasting struggle of consumers not paying for a thing and still expecting the best, and the corporate businessman's necessity to see growth grow at a growing rate from each quarter till the next. And because of all this inevitable instability that comes pretty much innately to any internet algorithm, I've begun to pick up on a super common series of trends, a sort of natural lifespan that not many websites have been able to work their way around. Pretty much none of them, if you exclude government funded ones and shit like that. A timeline that seems to go something like: stage 1, some asshole drops out of college, wears the same shirt, jeans and underwear every day because somehow that helps, and decides to make themselves a free to use website about something or the other. Stage 2, for whatever reason the site becomes trendy in the right niche at the right time, and before long half of the free world is hooked onto your free product. Stage 3, said asshole then makes millions off of advertisements and selling your data and whatever it takes really to make it all worthwhile. Stage 4, as it sounds, death is imminent. As the site slowly begins to dwindle in popularity, as it fails miserably to keep up to date in a forever shifting marketplace, at the mercy of the demands of people who don't even pay you a dime in the first place. See, after all, you make all of your actually legitimate non-data selling money by creating a fun and useful way to show people ads. All of what's coming your way is because of those sneaky little interruptions and doom scrolling that people are willing to accept in order to use your site. Which means that for you, if either both or either advertisers or consumers are not happy, then you're the one who ends up losing everything as a result. Which unfortunately for you can come as simply as a not very well thought out Swedish N-bomb. Stage 5. And so fifth and finally, forced to admit to your own failure and defeat by bringing this social monstrosity to humanity, you decide it's finally about time that maybe you put the software engineer beanbag away and exchange your millions for billions, which typically comes in the form of a buyout to some other giant soulless tech conglomerate, under the contractually signed agreement that this will most definitely be the end of any good done by your site and what your business was once built and intended for, as said soulless tech giant begins milking your precious little gigantic worldwide network of any penny it has left in it. Where there once was pictures of puppies and sunsets shared amongst friends and loved ones, now resides size J-tit AI trying to get you to share your credit card information. Eventually, your precious algorithm dies as any other by inadvertently becoming a site in the pursuit of so much damn dough that they literally named the company after it. And by the way, I'm not trying to share my opinion on any of this in particular. All I'm really trying to point out is how it's a weird business model, man. One that's hard to really even call a business in the first place without an actual tangible product. But still, for the most part, unavoidable these days. Getting progressively shittier is sort of just the name of the game, and that's no secret to anyone. I mean, why is LinkedIn pretty much the new Twitter now that Twitter is the new billionaire's public notes app? And why is ChatGPT never nice to me anymore? Hell, in my own experience personally, having used both Fruity Facebook and Wonky WhatsApp ever since I first downloaded them, I've watched both of them in their own way become progressively shittier versions of their former self in this time. I feel like it's no surprise to anyone in my humble yet most very certainly entirely male audience how at this stage Instagram seems to love nothing more than booty. Like to a Twitter degree of stage 5 symptoms that they got going on over there. And if for whatever reason there's a woman watching right now who doesn't believe me, go change your Bitmoji to male and see what Snapchat has to shove in your face. But it's not like I'm one to complain about anything like that. See, I'm not gay. Even if it's like an unholy amount, a straight up absurd amount, even if it's most certainly an unhealthy amount to be shoving in the face of any young fella everywhere, man, I don't care. I'll keep it coming. I'll drown in it. Though all I will say is that it might just maybe definitely a sign that the end is near. That a level of not caring has been reached that only can be when everyone in charge has all given up on any sort of collective hope of goodness to bring to the world and replaced it with fun. Well, yeah. In short, why does Insta love booty so much? Well, because you do and it doesn't give a. And of course that's not the only sign that a website ceased caring. I mean, another dead giveaway has got to be the ads that you see on these your sites. First of all, at this stage, every second thing that you see, every second post, and even story, you can expect to be an advertisement. And these goddamn advertisements. I have genuinely never seen internet slop quite like a lot of these ads lately. Let me ask you a question. What do you think that failing hip-hop artists, as well as hairline products and Protestant missionaries, all share in common? If your answer was how those are pretty much like 90% of the ads that I ever get on these platforms nowadays, then you'd be correct. It's rare to see like an actual company advertising its goods and services or anything like that in 2025. I used to see ads for like moisturizers and real things that I might even actually potentially consider buying. You know, like the point of an ad, but not anymore. Probably because in Meta's attempt to turn Instagram into a virtual rat-infested, piss-stenched Times Square in your pocket, they put so much ad space up for sale on the site that at this stage you only expect to have to double scroll. Which means that at this stage, each and every single individual ad is just another thing not to pay attention to. Which seems pretty self-defeating, doesn't it? I don't care how good your ad is, if there's 15 more after it, then I'm turning on my mental ad blockers anyway. Sure, at a time back in the day, ads on Instagram were way more professional and way less common. But when the site itself can barely any longer provide the primary function that it used to provide to the people using it, when no one's really willing to pay attention to the crazy amount of advertisements that they'd prefer to have on it, of course then inevitably in due time it's gonna get progressively shittier for advertisers, consumers, everybody. Hell, eventually this exact struggle got so bad for the geeks in charge that they literally had to go about finding a whole new way to both keep you hooked and seamlessly deliver you advertisements and make everybody happy again. Reels. TikTok. And I guess sort of Threads too, but realistically, who's using that joke? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, Reels used to really annoy me. And they still do, I hate that. But so does everybody, and they know that, which is why you can't just turn the feature off, because any sane person surely would. Because Reels are truly the bane of humanity. Through and through, all in all, a waste of your f***ing life. And yet they've seeped so deep into the culture by now that essentially all media comes pre-packaged in reel format. Now even TV networks are trying their hand at it by producing reality TV so brain-dead and mind-numbingly digestible. Not to say that it wasn't already, it's at a stage now where every episode can be stripped into minute-long clips beyond context or reasoning while still having you ready to watch it. Like, when did Americans start watching Love Island all of a sudden? What's that about? I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty much the only thing that yous had left that gave you any nudge on the Brits. But now you might as well just colour your teeth yellow and give each other a bloody shanking. That is real TV through and through. Real TV. And I know what you're thinking, alright? Didn't TikTok come up with the format? Instagram only later adapted it in a miserable attempt to keep up. Which is true, but see, at a certain point, it just became this whole new piece of the puzzle of getting progressively so at this stage, it's essential. Like, I'd be surprised if the hub didn't have some sort of real format. So I don't know what to tell you. Maybe theoretically the whole internet's dying. This right here is what I like to call late stage slop. In a website's desperate attempt to milk itself on its way to becoming another MySpace or 4chan or Club Penguin or whatever. So I guess all that there's left to wonder is why? What exactly is the end goal in all this? Why, as soon as some free website becomes the main of its kind, whatever that may be, its natural next step is to start slowly destroying itself, ruining whatever people actually enjoy about it, and becoming progressively I mean, what is the problem with making something that does the job that it's supposed to and keeping it doing that? Especially when the stakes, you know, the risk to reward ratio of changing anything are just so low in the first place. I've never met someone excited over an Instagram update before. I don't think that that's ever impacted whether anyone uses that bullshit or not. And I'm not much a businessman myself, but if something works, then surely you're supposed to keep it working, right? So is this trend really a coincidence? Or is there a chance that there's something far more sinister at play behind it all? Is it fathomable that for some reason it's intentional? That there's something that I missed to it? A reason behind this social media suicide? A real reason? a stage 6 to the timeline? What exactly is the end goal here? Well, what else other than a subpar subscription service, of course? Half full of shit that used to be free anyways, features they either removed or restricted in the process of getting progressively shittier, and the other half full of useless features that were never necessary and you'll never need to use anyways. You know, like YouTube Premium allowing you to watch videos on 3 times speed. Now, this is coming from a dude who respects YouTube far more than any other social media platform, and who can barely go to the cinema anymore because they force you to watch it on normal time speed. But seriously, what function could anything over potentially 2.5 speed actually provide? Do you realize just how fast that is? Probably not. Let me rewind what I literally just said and play it for you in 3 times speed. But seriously, what function could anything over 2, maybe 2.5 speed actually provide? Absolutely no chance you caught any of that. And if you can simply pay to be verified on Twitter, if they don't have to give it to you specifically, then what's its purpose at all anymore? And Snapchat Premium, I mean... Wait, what does Snapchat Premium actually do? So what is the point of all this? Finally something, no matter how stupid, that they get to sell to you as the people spending far too large a proportion of our lives on their internet algorithm. Finally, a product. Yeah, sure, every internet algorithm is different and unique and special in its own way, but money drives each and every single one. And you know what? In all fairness, you know, to a certain degree, I do get it. I get how it's obviously very expensive to run a site that people use for hours of their day at a time. You're gonna need funding, and funders are gonna need to see returns. The clear flaw in this business model is how nobody's willing to pay for something that's free. Money is the driving force behind every single internet algorithm, and no one's willing to pay for it. And so naturally, as soon as any sort of monopoly does form in this industry, that platform needs to get progressively shit for it to have even been worth making in the first place. Now, with all that being said, at what point is enough enough? We all know that we're never gonna start paying for this shit, and that they're never gonna stop trying. So what's next? Not to go all English teacher on your ass, but it kinda makes you wonder why we're so willing to spend so much damn time on them in the first place. Or if anyone would be using social media the way that we do if it wasn't free. So by spending so much time on something you wouldn't even spend your money on because you don't have to spend your money on it, can you really say that you're winning there? What are we doing wasting so much time? For what exactly? A good time? Not quite these days. An inescapable high? Not really. A free time? Now that's for real.